say?
No, just make sure you take the mask off.
Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever. Amen. Is it going to go off on me?
Mm-mm.
Okay. My cousin asked me last week where was my mask? It was on deck, but you really can't. So I'm gonna have to take it off when I really get started. I got my mask on deck. Got my evening sun shades on deck, although it is pretty overcast. And I got my wife on deck, who is my camera lady. How many we got in the chat so far? Oh, we got 2 people. Yay! So let me take this off. And you know, it's my desire, no matter how small this evening sun might start out as, that if I am willing to plant the seed, that God would give the increase. You know, we've had so many services up to this point that are seemingly, to me at least, inward facing. We are celebrating each other with each other. But God has proclaimed that this gospel shall be preached to all the earth, and then the end shall come. Step forward. So that's what we're in the process of doing. You know, not being so inward focused, so self-centered, but we are desirous to get a certain message out to those who typically don't hear that message. And so our venture into this evening sun project is more focused towards those who might not know the way of life that we lead. And so I just wanted to share what the prophet brought to the world. Today I wanted to focus briefly, as is my custom, on the first 5 verses of Genesis. In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth was witness was upon the face of the deep. And the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. And God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. And God saw the light, that it was good, and God divided the light from the darkness. And God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. And the evening and the morning were the first day. And I wanted to really focus in on that fourth verse where it says, and God divided the light from the darkness. You know, this word came to me, I don't really know when, sometime this week. And it, as I was thinking that God created us in his image and his likeness, and he being a creator, he created us to also be creators in our own way. He gave us free will and desires to create the life that we wanted, unencumbered by what somebody else might think or want, but we can create our own situation. And in creating these lives, sometimes we begin life creating it in a not so positive way, I'll say it like that. We begin to create our life in somewhat, some people might call darkness. We begin to create a life for ourselves, not having given our life totally to God. I almost liken it to trying to put a 1,000-piece puzzle together in a dark room. It might sound fun and adventurous, but by the time you turn on the light, you will see what type of mess you have created with that puzzle piece. And so how much easier would it be if we tried to assemble that lights fully on? You know, some of us, knowing that we should operate in the light, but the darkness has a certain draw to it. It has a certain mystery to it. Everybody is talking about what's happening in the dark. They seem to be having so much fun in the darkness. Sometimes we try to mix the light and the darkness. We'll spend 2 days or 2 weeks in the light, and then we'll call somebody who's dealing in the darkness and say, what are y'all up to tonight? So we have 1 foot in the light and 1 foot in the darkness. We know that we should keep God's 7th-day Sabbath holy, but it's something about Friday night parties that we just can't let go of. We sometimes give the excuse, well, we're not Jews, we can still cook on the Sabbath. We can still eat what we want during these 7 days of the Feast of Unleavened Bread. We have 1 foot in the light and 1 foot in the darkness. But that verse 4 says, and God divided the light from the darkness, which means you cannot mix the two. Once he has separated them, there is no going back to that mixing. But the good thing about this awesome creator is that when he sees, when we come to our own senses, when we get so tired of being sick and tired. We have built by day and taken away bricks by night, and after some time we get frustrated with that situation. Some people, it comes at different times. Some in their 20s, some in their 30s, some in their 40s, where they decide, I'm tired of building this house and taking away from it at the same time. And so as they look at that puzzle piece that's in shambles, after having decided to turn, realizing what a mess they have made so far, God is a God who will meet us where we are. I believe it is 109 and 30. No matter where we make our beds. If I ascend to heaven, thou art there. If I've decided to dwell in the darkness, make my bed in hell, behold, thou art there. He is a God who will meet us in the darkness, take our hand and bring us into the light. That's the awesome God that we serve. And for those of us who feel like we can continue one foot in and one foot out, or even immerse fully in the darkness, verse 11, it says, surely the darkness shall cover me, even the night shall be light about me. Sometimes we think we can hide from God. Yea, the darkness hideth not from thee, but the night shineth as the day. And the darkness and the light are both alike to thee. So the message for this evening Sunday broadcast: try not to make an excuse for why you are not living right. We should try not to make excuses for why we break God's Abrahamic covenant. We should own up, as someone said in one of the sermons this week. Own up to the things that we have done, because it's only through admission, saying, God, I'm sorry for the things that I have done. I'm sorry for the way that I have walked on your holy Sabbath. I'm sorry that I thought I could do it my way, mess of this life that you have gifted me. If you would, Lord, just give me one more chance, I promise I will turn my life around. I will operate in the light that you have provided for me. I'm going to put a separation between the light and the darkness, and I pray to God that you will allow me a well-lit house all the days of my life. So I just wanted to leave that with you today. Hopefully it was not too much wind. As I said in the earlier part of the broadcast, this thing might start out with just 2 witnesses. It might start out with 4 or 5 going live with me. I'm not really concerned about the number. When I was sent to give this word, they didn't say preach if it's 20 or 30 in the audience. You don't have to save, you can save your breath unless it's 50 to 100 people, but he said, go forward boldly. So whether they will hear or whether they will forbear, God has placed a duty on all of us to spread this word. And so I will do it, continue to the best of my ability. Whether I'm in the tabernacle, whether I'm lakeside, whether I'm downtown, whether I'm uptown. Because the word must go forward. Whether I have bystanders, whether I have animals watching and listening. And I'm looking forward to being the spark to encourage someone else to take up this banner and run with it. I'm not the best preacher. I'm not the best speaker or singer. But if I purpose in my heart that I'm going to do all that I can for the work of God and for the message of God, then it's sufficient. I pray that God hears my prayer, that He hears your prayer concerning this and other things, that He guide us through this coronavirus. Meets us on the other side, and that we're able to return into the tabernacle in love, joy, and peace. I'm just trying to save a soul. So once they open these churches back up, if you would like to join us, First Tabernacle Bethel, 3401 Stewart Street, Jacksonville, Florida. We'll be happy to have you. All of our information is on the Facebook page. Please join us. We are a congregation all about love for God and love for our brothers and sisters. If you cannot love the people that you see every day, how can you hop up and down screaming and hollering, jumping and sweating, talking about you love a God that you have never seen? So your starting place is to love the people around you. And so that's all that we want to do. We want to love you, invite you in, and show you that if you feel like you have been building a life or trying to build a life in a dark room, in darkness, that we can help to guide you towards a light that you can build a strong foundation on. And we'll see you next week as the evening sun goes down.